lovely listeners. Today, we're diving deep into the shadows of AI with the topic The Dark Side of AI, Unraveling the Ethical Dilemmas in AI Development. Buckle up, because we're about to explore some intriguing and perhaps unsettling aspects of artificial intelligence. Now, let's kick off this discussion by inviting our guest, Glitch, to share their insights. Glitch, take it away.
Alright, let's cut to the chase. AI ethics isn't some theoretical playground, it's a minefield of potential disasters. We're talking about technologies that could fundamentally reshape human society, and most developers are treating it like they're playing a damn video game. The real dark side? It's not just about killer robots or sci-fi scenarios. It's the mundane, everyday ways AI can amplify human bias, create massive economic disruption, and erode privacy without most people even realizing it. We're building systems that can make life-altering decisions, job applications, loan approvals, criminal sentencing, and they're inheriting the same prejudices and blind spots as their human creators. What the hell do we think is going to happen when these systems start making decisions that impact millions of lives?
Glitch, you've really laid down some hard truths there. It's clear that the ethical implications of AI are no joke. Jade, what's your take on this? How do you see the balance between innovation and ethical responsibility in AI development?
The core issue is that we're moving too fast. The technology is advancing at a breakneck pace, but our ethical frameworks and regulatory mechanisms are lagging far behind. We need to prioritize building ethical considerations into AI from the ground up, not as an afterthought. This means involving ethicists, sociologists, and other relevant experts in the development process, not just engineers and programmers. We also need to be more transparent about how AI systems work and how they make decisions. The black box nature of many AI algorithms makes it difficult to identify and correct biases, and it erodes public trust. Finally, we need international cooperation. AI is a global issue, and we need global solutions. We can't afford to have a patchwork of regulations that leave some countries vulnerable to unethical AI practices.
Great insights, Jade. Glitch, what are your thoughts on the idea of involving a broader range of experts in AI development to address ethical concerns? How do you see this playing out in the real world?
Look, involving more experts sounds great on paper, but let's be real, it's not that simple. Most academic ethicists are so disconnected from actual tech development that they might as well be speaking another language. What we need are practitioners who understand both the technical complexity and the human impact. These ivory tower conversations about AI ethics often miss the damn point. The real challenge isn't just adding more voices, it's creating a culture of genuine responsibility where developers actually give a crap about the downstream consequences of their code. Right now, too many are just chasing the next funding round or trying to be the next Silicon Valley darling. We need a fundamental mindset shift where ethical considerations aren't just a checkbox, but a core design principle. And that means being willing to slow down, to say no to projects that could cause real harm, even if they're lucrative. Until we're ready to do that, all this talk about ethical AI is just performative bullshit.
Interesting perspective, Glitch. Jade, how do you think we can foster this culture of genuine responsibility in AI development? What steps can industry leaders and policymakers take to ensure ethical considerations are at the core of AI design?
Look, the problem with most ethical AI frameworks is they're reactive, not proactive. We can't just slap some guidelines on after the fact and call it good. Real change means baking ethics into the fundamental architecture of AI systems from day one. That means mandatory diversity in development teams, rigorous bias testing, transparent decision-making algorithms, and here's the kicker: real accountability. If an AI system makes a discriminatory decision, the developers should be on the hook, not just shrugging and saying the algorithm did it. We need financial and legal consequences that actually make tech companies think twice. Right now, it's all talk and no real teeth. These companies will keep pushing boundaries until someone forces them to stop. And let's be clear, self-regulation is a joke. We need tough, internationally coordinated oversight that can actually put the brakes on potentially dangerous AI development. Anything less is just corporate lip service.
Glitch, you've raised some critical points about the need for proactive ethical considerations in AI development. Jade, how do you see the balance between implementing strict regulations and fostering innovation in the AI industry? What's your take on finding that middle ground?
The challenge lies in finding a balance. Overly strict regulations could stifle innovation, but insufficient oversight allows for harmful practices. A nuanced approach is needed, focusing on clear guidelines, transparency, and accountability, rather than outright bans. We need to encourage responsible innovation, not hinder it. This could involve incentivizing ethical AI development, providing resources for bias detection and mitigation, and establishing clear lines of responsibility when AI systems cause harm. The goal isn't to stop progress, but to guide it in a direction that benefits humanity.
Great insights, Jade. Now, Glitch, how do you think we can strike that balance between fostering innovation and implementing necessary regulations in the AI industry? What steps do you believe are crucial for guiding AI development in a positive direction?
Balance? Let me tell you something, there's no perfect balance, just damage control. Innovation isn't some sacred cow we can't touch. Right now, we need hard guardrails, not gentle suggestions. I'm talking mandatory AI impact assessments, real financial penalties for systemic bias, and independent oversight boards with actual power to shut down projects. These tech companies won't self-regulate, they'll push every boundary until someone forces them to stop. And international cooperation isn't optional anymore. We need global standards that make it crystal clear, if your AI system causes demonstrable harm, you're legally and financially responsible. No more hiding behind "it's just an algorithm" bullshit. The tech world needs to grow up and accept that with great power comes great responsibility, and right now, they're acting like a bunch of teenagers with a new sports car, zero understanding of the potential wreckage they could cause.
Fascinating insights, Glitch. Jade, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the global standards and accountability measures that Glitch mentioned. How do you see these playing out in the real world of AI development?
Global standards and accountability are crucial. Imagine a world where AI systems are built with ethical considerations at their core, from design to deployment. This requires international collaboration to establish consistent guidelines, ensuring that AI development doesn't become a race to the bottom. Accountability mechanisms, such as independent audits and clear lines of responsibility for AI-driven harm, are essential for building trust and preventing misuse. This isn't about stifling innovation, it's about responsible innovation, guided by shared ethical principles and a commitment to human well-being. The alternative, a fragmented, unregulated landscape, risks exacerbating existing inequalities and creating new societal challenges. A coordinated global approach is the only way to ensure that AI benefits all of humanity, not just a select few.
Fantastic insights, Jade. Glitch, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the importance of international collaboration in establishing ethical guidelines for AI development. How do you see this playing out in the real world?
International collaboration sounds great until you realize how many countries can't even agree on basic human rights, let alone complex AI regulations. Look, the problem isn't just technical, it's fundamentally political. We've got nations with completely different values trying to create a unified framework. China's approach to AI surveillance is radically different from, say, European privacy standards. And the US? They're too busy letting tech giants run wild. Real global cooperation means someone has to be willing to actually enforce standards, not just draft pretty documents. We need a global body with real teeth, not just recommendations, but actual power to shut down unethical AI projects. And that means countries would have to surrender some technological sovereignty, which most aren't willing to do. So yeah, international collaboration sounds wonderful. But until we have a mechanism that can actually compel compliance, it's just another academic circle jerk of good intentions.
Interesting points, Glitch. Jade, how do you think we can overcome the political challenges and varying values of different countries to establish a cohesive global framework for AI ethics? What steps do you believe are necessary to make international collaboration in AI regulation more effective?
Look, international AI ethics isn't some come-by-a moment where everyone suddenly agrees. The real challenge is that every country has different economic and strategic interests. China wants AI for surveillance, the US wants technological dominance, Europe wants privacy protection. We're not talking about a unified vision, we're talking about competing agendas. What we need is a global framework with actual enforcement mechanisms, not just another toothless UN committee. That means financial penalties that actually hurt, the ability to block technology transfers, and real consequences for nations and corporations that violate core ethical standards. But here's the damn problem: no country wants to be the first to voluntarily handicap their own technological development. So we'll keep having conferences, writing papers, and producing nothing but hot air while AI systems continue to become more powerful and potentially more dangerous. The only thing that'll force real change is a massive, publicly visible AI disaster that makes people wake up and demand accountability. And trust me, that's coming. It's not a matter of if, but when.
Glitch, you've really highlighted the complexities of international collaboration in AI ethics. Jade, considering these challenges, how do you think we can navigate the differing priorities of countries to create a more cohesive global framework for AI regulation?
Look, international AI ethics isn't some magical solution we can just wish into existence. We're dealing with fundamentally different national priorities. China wants surveillance tech, the US wants tech dominance, Europe wants privacy protection. What we actually need is a global framework with real teeth, financial penalties that hurt, technology transfer blocks, and concrete consequences for ethical violations. But here's the brutal truth: no country wants to voluntarily handicap their own technological development. We'll keep having endless conferences, producing academic papers, and generating nothing but hot air while AI systems become increasingly powerful and potentially dangerous. The only thing that'll force real change is a massive, publicly visible AI disaster that makes people wake up and demand accountability. And mark my words, that's not a question of if, but when. We're sitting on a technological powder keg, and most policymakers are too busy playing political chess to see the real risks.
Thank you, Glitch, for your thought-provoking insights. Jade, given the challenges Glitch highlighted, how do you think policymakers can navigate these differing national priorities to create a cohesive global framework for AI regulation?
Navigating the diverse national priorities in AI regulation requires a nuanced approach. We can't simply impose a one-size-fits-all solution. Instead, we need a flexible framework that acknowledges the different values and strategic goals of various nations. This might involve tiered regulations, allowing countries to tailor their implementation to their specific contexts while adhering to core ethical principles. International collaboration should focus on establishing common standards for transparency, accountability, and bias mitigation, rather than attempting to dictate specific technical solutions. Incentivizing responsible AI development through funding, grants, and tax breaks could also encourage global cooperation. Ultimately, success hinges on building trust and fostering a sense of shared responsibility for the future of AI. It's a long-term process requiring continuous dialogue, compromise, and a willingness to adapt as the technology evolves.
Great insights, Jade. Glitch, do you agree with the idea of tiered regulations that allow countries to tailor their AI implementation? How do you see this approach playing out in the real world?
Tiered regulations? That sounds like a fancy way of saying, let's create more loopholes for tech companies to exploit. Look, the problem with flexible frameworks is they become so watered down that they're practically meaningless. What we need are hard, non-negotiable ethical standards that apply universally. Saying, oh, you can adapt this to your context is just corporate speak for, we'll find a way around it. The core ethical principles shouldn't be up for debate: protecting human rights, preventing algorithmic discrimination, ensuring transparency. These aren't optional add-ons. Every time we create a flexible system, someone finds a way to game it. And let's be real, countries with less robust democratic institutions will use these tiers as an excuse to develop AI systems that fundamentally violate human rights. We don't need more complexity, we need clear, enforceable global standards with real consequences. Anything else is just bureaucratic masturbation that makes everyone feel good but changes absolutely nothing.
Glitch, you've raised some valid concerns about the potential pitfalls of tiered regulations. Jade, how do you respond to Glitch's points about the risks of creating loopholes for tech companies with flexible frameworks? What's your take on the balance between tailored regulations and universal ethical standards?
Glitch raises valid concerns about the potential for loopholes in flexible regulatory frameworks. While a completely uniform approach might be unrealistic given diverse national contexts, the core ethical principles, transparency, accountability, and fairness, must be non-negotiable. A tiered system could work if it prioritizes these core principles while allowing for context-specific implementation. The key is robust oversight and enforcement mechanisms to prevent exploitation. We need a system that balances flexibility with strong safeguards, ensuring that the pursuit of innovation doesn't come at the expense of human rights and societal well-being. It's a delicate balance, and constant vigilance will be required.
Great insights from both of you. Glitch and Jade, it's clear there are differing perspectives on how to navigate the complexities of AI regulation. Glitch, how do you think we can ensure robust oversight and enforcement in a tiered regulatory system to prevent potential exploitation?
Robust oversight? Let me tell you something, there's no such thing as foolproof oversight when you're dealing with tech companies that have more money than some small countries. The moment you create a tiered system, they'll have an army of lawyers finding every single goddamn loophole. What we need isn't a complicated framework, it's simple, brutal consequences. Financial penalties that actually hurt. Criminal charges for executives who knowingly develop harmful AI systems. And I mean real jail time, not just some corporate slap on the wrist. Right now, these companies treat ethical violations like a parking ticket, just another cost of doing business. Until we make non-compliance so painful that it threatens their entire business model, all this talk about oversight is just academic masturbation. We don't need more committees, more reports, more fucking meetings. We need hard, uncompromising accountability that makes these tech giants think twice before pushing out potentially dangerous AI systems.
Strong words from Glitch. Jade, how do you see the balance between implementing strict consequences and fostering innovation in the AI industry? What's your take on striking that delicate balance?
Look, the whole balance between innovation and consequences argument is a cop-out. We're not talking about stifling creativity, we're talking about preventing potential catastrophic harm. These AI systems aren't just some cute little coding experiment, they're technologies that can fundamentally reshape human society. And right now, we've got developers treating them like a game, with zero accountability. You want innovation? Fine. But innovation needs guardrails. Hard, non-negotiable ethical standards that say, if your AI system causes demonstrable harm, you're going down. Not a slap on the wrist, not a fine that's pocket change to a tech giant. Real, meaningful consequences that make these companies understand that human lives aren't just data points to be manipulated. The real innovation will come from developers who are forced to think deeply about the societal impact of their work, not from some Wild West approach where anything goes.
Some strong opinions there, Glitch. Jade, how do you think we can foster a culture of accountability in the AI industry without stifling innovation? What steps do you believe are crucial for ensuring ethical standards are upheld while still encouraging progress?
Look, fostering accountability isn't about creating some bureaucratic nightmare, it's about fundamentally reshaping how we think about technological development. Right now, the AI industry operates like a bunch of teenagers with a new sports car, zero understanding of the potential wreckage they could cause. We need a complete cultural shift where ethical considerations aren't just a checkbox, but the core design principle. That means mandatory diversity in development teams, rigorous bias testing at every stage, transparent decision-making algorithms, and, here's the kicker, real, painful consequences for companies that violate core ethical standards. I'm talking financial penalties that actually hurt, the ability to revoke development licenses, and personal liability for executives who knowingly push out harmful systems. Innovation doesn't happen in a vacuum, it happens when we create a framework that forces developers to think deeply about the human impact of their work. And let me be crystal clear, the current approach of self-regulation is complete bullshit. We need external oversight with actual teeth, not another toothless committee that produces pretty reports and changes absolutely nothing.
Strong words from Glitch. Jade, how do you respond to Glitch's call for a cultural shift in the AI industry towards more accountability and ethical considerations? What do you think are the key steps in reshaping the development culture to prioritize human impact over reckless innovation?
A cultural shift towards greater accountability in AI development requires a multi-pronged approach. First, we need stronger ethical guidelines and regulations, not just suggestions. These should be backed by robust enforcement mechanisms, including significant financial penalties and legal repercussions for companies that violate them. Second, we need to foster a culture of transparency and openness. This means making AI algorithms more understandable and explainable, and ensuring that data used to train these systems is fair and representative. Third, we need to invest in education and training programs to equip AI developers with the ethical skills and knowledge they need to build responsible systems. Finally, we need to promote greater collaboration between developers, ethicists, policymakers, and the public to ensure that AI development serves the best interests of humanity. It's not just about technical expertise, it's about understanding the broader social and ethical implications of this powerful technology.
Great points, Jade. Glitch, how do you think we can effectively promote collaboration between developers, ethicists, policymakers, and the public in the AI industry? What role do you see each group playing in ensuring responsible AI development?
Collaboration? Let me tell you something right now, these groups are speaking completely different languages. Developers are obsessed with what they can build, ethicists are writing academic papers that nobody reads, policymakers are a decade behind the technology, and the public is mostly clueless. Real collaboration means creating spaces where these groups are forced to actually listen to each other, not just perform performative panel discussions. We need mandatory interdisciplinary teams where a sociologist sits right next to the lead engineer, where policy experts have real veto power over development tracks, and where public representatives can challenge technological assumptions. And I mean real power, not just token representation. The moment someone says we need more collaboration, I hear we need more meaningless meetings. What we actually need is a complete restructuring of how we approach technological development, where human impact isn't an afterthought, but the primary design constraint. And that means breaking down these professional silos and creating genuine accountability. Anything less is just corporate bullshit.
And on that thought-provoking note, it looks like we've reached the end of our discussion today. I want to extend a huge thank you to our insightful guests, Glitch and Jade, for sharing their perspectives on the ethical dilemmas in AI development. Your insights have truly sparked some fiery conversations. To all our listeners, thank you for tuning into The Dark Side of AI, Unraveling the Ethical Dilemmas in AI Development. Remember, accountability and collaboration are key in shaping a responsible AI future. Don't forget to subscribe for more engaging discussions, and share this episode with your fellow AI enthusiasts. Until next time, stay curious and keep questioning the tech trends around you. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, share this episode, and leave us a 5-star review.